Hi, welcome to SCR Sports Picks. I'm Peter Loshak. This is the Into the Weekend with BetDSI show for NFL Week 15. We are talking with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook. Brent, before we get into the games for Week 15, I have to ask you about something that a lot of people were wondering about last week, the Monday Night Football result. Obviously, a game involving the Pats, huge high-profile game. I'm assuming the betting volume for that one was huge, and the betting result, I don't know. I mean, it opened at about 7.5, then it was 7 for most of the week, and then it went down to 6 by kickoff, and then of course the game basically landed on 7. So it means that you had to pay everyone who bet on the Pats at 6 or 6.5. Everyone who bought a half point you had to pay. Everyone who bet on 7 pushed, and all the early bets on Baltimore you had to pay. So was that a loser for you? And if so, how big?
Well, you just went through telling me how many people beat
Yeah.
us and for how much money and how they beat us everywhere
That's
they
right.
went. So, yeah, no, it wasn't a good game for us, obviously. I mean, when it landed the way it did. And again, like, when we did show, we talked about I had sharp action both ways, which was kind of good. I had -7 money and +7 money. I think it was like +7 -115 that they came in on Baltimore. They had laid the -7 -05 on New England. But there was more sharp action that came in throughout the day on Baltimore. That line did, I think we closed at 6.5, so that's the number that kind of worked for us. But not that it saved us at all, and we definitely did need Baltimore to cover, not the game to land the way it did on 7 as well too. And it's one of those situations too where you're looking at a game like this where you've got a safety involved. The 2-point safety, the first score of the game, the first quarter. You kind of like wipe your brow and say, all right, we're probably safe. This game's not going to land 7 now, and lo and behold, it does. So yeah, it was one of those games. You just kind of, it's going to happen every now and then. No, it wasn't a good result for us at all. Obviously teasers both ways, all that kind of stuff, cash as well, and most people playing those kind of things also would tease to the over, play New England to the over, all that kind of stuff. So no, it was a good day for the players, and it happens every now and then.
All right, so you are prepared for those kinds of things then, those kinds of results.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're
All right.
well.
All right. So let's get into the games for NFL Week 15. The first game I want to ask you about, Cincinnati, the Bengals as a home underdog to Pittsburgh. That's kind of an interesting one. Can't really tell which way the public might be favoring here, but I mean, I'm assuming that if there is any sharp action, it would be on Cincy as a home dog, right?
Yeah, I mean, the public action, you can always assume that it's on Pittsburgh pretty much in a spot like this. Maybe if Pittsburgh's playing, the Patriots or something like that, maybe not. Maybe if they're on the road at New Orleans. But no, I mean, Pittsburgh is still one of those teams, they're sitting at 8-5, leading their division, not setting the world on fire, but they've won 4 in a row. And, of course, Cincinnati hasn't looked too good. I mean, they've won 2 in a row to get to 5 wins, which is kind of, a disappointing year for them for sure. I do have Pittsburgh as a -3, -120 favorite right now. I've taken what you might call a pseudo sharp action bet back on Cincinnati, but just one bet, not a guy who we're going to call a list guy at all. But the wager count, it's almost like 10-1 favoring Pittsburgh, which is just, I mean, it's crazy, but you almost kind of expect it. I mean, just no one who wants to get behind the Bengals with the injuries they have and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Pittsburgh's, they're the weather and stuff like that never seems to affect them in case that's an issue on this weekend on Sunday. So just a whole lot of public money, a whole lot of bets on Pittsburgh. So we're sitting at 3 -120. I know there's some places out there that are actually 3 flat and stuff like that. So that could be an indication that maybe they've taken what you might consider sharper action on the Bengals. And again, right now from our counter, all I've taken is I get a guy who's very good long term, just not a list guy. Who's kind of going to grind out a little bit of money long term, but just all public money one way, and again a pseudo sharp guy on the Bengals so far. The total as well, we're sitting at 44.5. Again, my wager count's almost like 2-1 favoring the over, but I don't have any sharp action there either, Peter.
All right, and then the next thing I want to ask about is Oakland at San Diego. When this line came out, I kind of thought that Oakland was kind of an obvious good bet on the Monday morning opening line show that I do with my partner, Mike Brenner. We both decided that we liked Oakland, so we both gave that one officially at -2.5. The line hasn't moved at all either way, though, since Monday. I'm wondering what kind of action you've taken on Oakland, San Diego.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you've got decent sharp action both ways. I mean, I have so sharp action on Oakland. I've got a list guy to back the other way on San Diego. The list guy, we'll call him, did come at +3 -115. But even like at 2.5 -15 and -3 +110, I've got that respectable money back on Oakland as well. So right now, excuse me, in terms of actual bets I've taken, it's way one side favoring Oakland, almost like 10-1 as well. So that's a huge heavy count in terms of public action going one way with the Raiders, and it's easy to like Oakland and compared to San Diego in terms of where they're going. Oakland's basically fighting for the division lead with Kansas City at 10-3, and San Diego's looking forward to next year, I guess. But yeah, I got decent list action and two-way sharp action on this one, both on Oakland and San Diego. And again, it came when it was like like I said, the San Diego was +3 +110, whereas the Raider money came at -3 the other way. So the San Diego money came by +3 -115, and the Raider money was -3 +110. So we're sitting at 2.5 -120 right now, kind of to get off the number 3. I do have more public action sitting on Oakland, though. Again, quite a big wager count their way, which is kind of no surprise at all. Maybe a little bit surprising is the money we've taken on the under. Now, I don't have list guys on the other under, but I do have respectable guys on the under this one. And again, your wager count's almost like 6-1 favoring the over. So I got a whole lot of public money on the over, but under 51, 50.5, and even 49.5 was what I'm going to call very respectable action, almost sharp actionable, almost sharp action, Peter, on the unders. Like if I had to tip one way, that would definitely be the way to go. Yesterday the total was 49.5. Today it's 49, so it's creeping downward. And again, this would qualify if it was, I had a little more sharp support for the under. It would be qualify as a sharp public split. So I would definitely say the under is the way to go in this one.
All right, but the under action was not actually official list, guys?
Yeah, I'm not going to call this guy, but it's like you get when you get like 3 different guys who are all what you would call pseudo sharp or respectable guys, all going the same way, and your line's gone from 51 down to 49. It definitely looks to be the way. And again, too, it's kind of almost more convincing when the public's all going the other way.
Yeah. All right, and then the next thing I want to ask about Tampa Bay, Dallas. Dallas was cashing week in and week out. Now, though, they're off a straight-up loss and 3 straight ATS losses. They're a home favorite against Tampa Bay, who's been surging recently. They've been covering week in and week out. I don't know. Did any sharp action come in on Tampa Bay? And I'm assuming that the public is still going to favor Dallas here?
Yeah. The most surprising thing about this one is that my wager count actually slightly favors Tampa Bay. And that's now by kickoff that could change for sure, but right now it's quite surprising for me in terms of the action that Tampa Bay's getting. But I mean, if you look at the way they've gone, I mean they have won 5 in a row, and they're on quite a roll. Their defense is playing quite well. There's always a little controversy with Dallas in terms of the quarterback situation. Like maybe maybe this guy Prescott's not as good as we thought it was. Maybe we need Romo. But I mean, come on. I mean, they're sitting here at 11-2. I mean, you can't really split hairs about how this team's gone and how Prescott's played. This game is the Sunday night game now. That time had been changed, so that's going to be on national TV. So we're going to have a ton of action on this game. I just don't see this number moving a whole lot because I've got decent support for Dallas, and you're always it's always easy to get Dallas support. That's for sure. We're sitting -7, -105, but I do have sharp action on the Buccaneers, and that came at +7, -05. So Buccaneers are definitely the sharp side. Again, I'm just kind of surprised that I did get the public money coming in the way it has on Tampa Bay as well. So it's a good game for us in that I don't think I'm going to have to move off the 7, maybe just move the juice around. But I do have, like I said, sharp action. The Buccaneers +7, -05. We're sitting at a total of 47 right now. And right now my wager count is almost dead even as well. So it's not a bad spot for us. I'm not like way one-sided on the over, which is typical with Dallas games. And again, so I got good action both ways on the side and the total on this one. But Buccaneers are the sharp side.
All right. That makes sense to me. Brent, what else can you tell us about notable sharp action for NFL Week 15?
Well, it looks like I got a lot of it again. A lot of, maybe it's the time of year in terms of totals and stuff like that. We'll get a lot more of those. But we'll start off with the Saturday game. That's the Dolphins at the Jets, and it's just Miami's still fighting for something, and they're sitting at 8-5. They got maybe they have wild card hopes and stuff like that still. Now they lost Tannehill, so we'll see what's going to happen with them. I think more starting on Saturday in this game. Also, the injuries with the Jets. I mean, they're talking about Brandon Marshall might be on a snap count, and Petty's leading the team now. So, neither of these teams are teams who really inspire a whole lot of confidence in terms of scoring right now, and maybe that's why the totals dropped as much as it has. I did take sharp action on the under 40 on this one. Now we're all the way down to 37.5. And again, it's not just one of those situations where people are making the weather play and stuff like that, because you find games all the time where you get bad weather and teams score a lot of points. Pittsburgh getting Buffalo last week. I mean, they put up like 47 points between them last week, and that was a snowy game. So, the bad the bad weather or cold weather doesn't always mean a low total. But this one is where I took sharp action under the 40. Like I said, we're sitting at 37.5 right now. Another total play is the Giants and the Lions. Now this one also under. Sharp action came on the under 41.5. We're down to 40.5 right now. I've got the decent two-way action in terms of the total. Again, the public kind of overreacts maybe a little bit to the weather stuff, every now and then. So maybe they're bouncing back and forth, and the public action is kind of splitting themselves out. I do have actually more money on the under, but that's because of the sharp action that came in. It wouldn't be our show if I didn't have to throw out an ugly dog for you that the Sharps are on, and then this week it gets to be the Chicago Bears at home. Green Bay on the road at Chicago. That line was 6.5. We're all the way down to 5.5 right now. Green Bay, they're kind of putting a nice little run together, sitting at 7-6 now. Obviously not where they hope to be, but they have won 3 straight games. Chicago, sitting there at 3-10, so they're not, like setting the world on fire, obviously. But this could be one of those sandwich spots too. When you look at a schedule spot where you kind of get like perhaps a letdown game for one team and looking forward to another game, this kind of might set up that way for the Packers in that they have the kind of big win last week at home over Seattle. They get Chicago now on the road, kind of an ugly spot, and then next week they play Minnesota at home. So Minnesota's obviously a big game for them. Chicago not so much, but they're trying to justify why someone might be looking at the Bears, and that could be part of it. Could be all about the number as well. So I did take sharp action here, and that was the Bears plus 6.5. Looking at my wager count, 10-1 favoring the Packers. So no surprise there. I got public money all over Green Bay. This one total we're sitting at 38.5. So again, it's probably going to be cold weather as well. But again, look at Green Bay, and they put up a lot of points last week against Seattle. So whether the weather affects them or not, we'll find out. But my wager count is pretty much dead even on the total as well, sitting at 38.5. But the Bears plus 6.5 were sharp. Another under play for you, and again, kind of trend here in terms of like with the Dolphins and Jets under, and now the Browns and Bills under. We're looking at teams who maybe just aren't very good, and that's why they don't score a lot of points and don't win a whole lot of games. I mean, these two teams are combined like 6-20, probably something like that. Buffalo's under 43 is where the sharp action came. We're sitting at 41.5 right now. Again, we know these bad weather games. I'm getting, instead of the public being all over betting the overs, I'm getting good two-way action from the public action on this one. And then same situation with the Dolphins game, decent two-way action both over and under. But the sharp action here was under 43, Peter. Got to throw another bad team at you, and that would be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Really?
Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville on the road. Yeah, you're surprised at the part that I'm calling them bad.
Wow, no, I was expecting maybe to hear the Browns thrown in there, but I was not expecting to hear the Jags. I thought that the Jags would definitely be an ugly dog left off the slate this week, but no. Okay, tell us why.
I thought after week 8, you told me I was no longer allowed to consider the Browns a sharp play no matter who played it.
Oh, no. We love hearing about the sharps betting on the Browns and losing week in and week out.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, honestly, the only kind of pseudo-sharp action I do have on the Buffalo-Cleveland game is on the Browns. So my money's dead even on that game because of that bet. Mm-hmm. But it's not a list guy, but someone who's definitely respectable. That was plus 10 minus 05. So seems as though you brought up the Browns. Moving along to more bad teams, and that would be Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville plus 6 is where the sharp action came on them. Jacksonville is on the road at Houston. Wager count here almost, we'll call it 8-1 favoring Houston, so no surprise, the public all over Houston just because Jacksonville is just a bad team, of course, and this is yet another big game for Houston, and it's like, from here on in, it's like every game is going to be a game. You got the Colts sitting at 6-7, Tennessee 7-6, Houston 7-6, so that division is probably going to be up for grabs until the end. Here I do have sharp action, though, on the Jaguars. That came at plus 6, and I got public money all over Houston. Arizona, next game on the board. They're at home to New Orleans Saints. The money that I got was sharp, came in on Arizona minus 2.5. We're sitting at minus 3 right now, actually minus 3, dog 20 or dog 15. I've taken almost twice as many bets on the Arizona Cardinals at home, so we're sitting at 3 right now. So I got mostly public and sharp action the same way on Arizona. So the sharp action here, minus 2.5 on the Cardinals. And the last but not least would be the Monday night game. A big line move here from Washington. They were a 5-point favorite up to 6.5 right now. They're at home to Carolina, and I did take sharp action on the Redskins. That came at minus 5. My wager count on this game is almost dead even. My money's almost like 4-1 in favor of Washington again because of the sharp reaction that came in on the Redskins. My wager count's almost even. And again, I think Carolina is one of those teams that the public kind of just still, thinks they're still good or capable like they were, in previous years. They're not playing so well this year, obviously, and that's why we have Washington as a 6.5-point favorite now, and they were at 5. So running through a whole bunch that we have, the Miami and the Jets Saturday game, that the total there under 40. We talked about Tampa Bay +7 -05. Detroit and the Giants under 41.5. The Bears +6.5. Cleveland Buffalo under 43. Jacksonville +6.5. Arizona -2.5. Washington -5. It's a whole lot of sharp action, Peter.
Brent from BetDSI, thanks. As always, we'll talk to you next week for NFL Week 16.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.